Log entry, mission year 37, cycle 112. Sol plus 4.8 light-years. Author, Dr. Eris Thorne, lead xenophysicist, ISV Odyssey.
The Silence. Tats wat endures.
Not the thrum of the life support, the soft whir of recyclers, or the almost subliminal hum of the oracle core, those are constants, the auditory landscape of our metal world hurtling through nothingness.
I mean the utter Silence.
The absence of discovery, the decades-long wait for something, anything, to break the crushing monotony of interstellar transit. 37 years since we left the warm embrace of Sol, 37 years chasing the ghost of a potentially habitable world around Proxima Centauri. Hope, once a roaring fire, has banked to embers, sustained only by discipline and the cold logic of the mission profile. Commander Eva Rostova runs a tight ship. Discipline is paramount on a voyage where psychological drift is as dangerous as a micrometeoroid strike. We maintain Sol Standard Time, celebrate antiquated holidays, drill for emergencies that statistically should never happen this far from gravitational wells or debris fields. It's necessary.
It keeps the three of us tethered to the humanity we left behind.
Kai Tanaka, our communications and systems specialist, represents the generation born after the Odyssey launched. He sees Earth only in archives, communicates with home across a gulf of years, his youthful optimism a stark contrast to Eva's pragmatic steel and my weariness. He still believes we'll find wonders. Sometimes, I envy him. My wonder is tempered by the ghosts of failed projects, of simulations that promised universes but delivered only noise. Oracle, our ship's AI, is perhaps the least affected by the void. It exists as pure information, its consciousness distributed through the vessel's fiber-optic nerves. It manages navigation, atmospheric composition, gravitational plating, research analysis, and 1,000 other tasks with tireless efficiency. It speaks with a calm, synthesized voice, devoid of inflection but not, I suspect, of a unique form of awareness. Dr. Thorne, Oracle's voice chimed softly through my cabin speaker, interrupting my log entry. Unscheduled sensor alert. Long-range gravimetric and spectral anomaly detected. Vector 077 by 14. Relative velocity decreasing. My heart gave an unfamiliar lurch. Anomaly.
Not A Standardklassifikation. On-screen, Oracle.
Magnify and filter for non-natural signatures. The main viewer in my small cabin flickered, displaying the star field ahead. A faint distortion shimmered near the center. Oracle overlaid data streams, mass readings inconsistent with rogue planetoids, energy signatures flat, dead cold, but an unnatural absorption pattern across multiple spectra. Object mass estimated at 9.7 times 10 to the power of 9 kilograms, Oracle stated. Composition primarily metallic, complex alloys, non-uniform density. No emissions detected. High probability of artificial origin.
Artificial.
Out here.
Midway between stars, adrift in the absolute cold.
My comm pinged. Eva's face appeared, etched with professional focus, but her eyes held a spark I hadn't seen in years.
Ares, Eusesis. Affirmative, Commander.
Probability of artificial origin is high. Kai is running deep scans, Eva said. Initial readings suggest it's old. Very old. And inert.
No power signatures, no heat bloom, nothing.
Could it be debris from another unknown Terran probe?
A lost generation ship.
I mused, though the mass readings seemed too high for that. Unlikely vector, Eva countered. And the material composition doesn't match any known Earth alloys.
Oracle, Cross-Reference Spektralabsorption with Project Chimera database.
Project Chimera was the repository for hypothetical alien material signatures.
A Pause, infinitesimal for the EGI. Negative match, Commander.
This object's material signature is novel. Novel.
Artificial.
Ancient.
Adrift.
The embers of hope within me flared. Commander, Kai's voice crackled over the channel, laced with excitement. Picking up complex surface geometry. Definitely not natural. It's structured. Angular, but the angles aren't Euclidean.
It's hurting my visual interpretation software. Bring us closer, Oracle, Eva commanded.
Cautious approach. Maintain yellow alert status.
Ares Kai, met me on the bridge.
The Odyssey adjusted course, its fusion drive emitting only the faintest sigh. On the bridge, the main viewer dominated the space, now showing the object more clearly as we closed the distance. It was vast, easily dwarfing our own vessel. Its shape was deeply unsettling. A chaotic yet seemingly purposeful amalgamation of sharp angles, impossible curves, and surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It looked less like a ship and more like a solidified glitch in spacetime.
No windows, no visible propulsion, no markings wie Kult decipher. Just Kilometer upon Kilometer of dark, intricate, alien metal.
Age estimation? Eva asked, her eyes glued to the screen. Difficult without calibration points, Oracle replied. Surface pitting from micrometeoroid impacts suggests exposure to the interstellar medium for a duration measurable in millions of years. Minimum estimate, 5 million standard years. Upper estimate, potentially much older.
Millions of years.
A derelict from a civilization that rose and fell before hominids walked upright on Earth.
A chilling wave washed over me. First contact.
Not with a thriving species, but with their silent tombstone drifting in the dark. It's tumbling slowly, Kai reported, pointing at a rotational vector graphic.
Very slow rotation, mai bewon revolution per Standardweg.
Stable.
No debris field.
Eva questioned.
Negative, Commander.
Clean. Whatever happened to it, it wasn't a violent external event. Internal, then, I murmured. Or perhaps, abandonment. Scans show multiple breaches in the hull, Kai added. Old punctures, likely impact damage accumulated over millennia. But structurally, it's sound. Incredibly dense framework. Eva leaned forward, her knuckles white where she gripped the command chair. Options, people. We maintain distance, observe, gather data, and continue to Proxima, I offered, the voice of scientific caution. It's inert, posing no threat. Or, Kai said, unable to contain his eagerness, we investigate closer. Send a drone. Maybe even an EVA. Eva looked at me. The unspoken question hung in the air. Was the potential knowledge worth the risk? This was beyond our mission parameters, a variable unaccounted for. But it was also, potentially, the single greatest discovery in human history. A drone first, Eva decided, her voice firm.
Maximum Sensor Package. Oracle, plot a Kurse for Drone Unit 3, Magellan.
Target the largest hull breach. Let's see what's inside. Magellan, a nimble sphere bristling with sensors, detached from the Odyssey and glided silently towards the colossal derelict. We watched its progress via its external cameras, the alien vessel looming larger, its bizarre geometry becoming sharper, more defined, yet no less comprehensible. The drone navigated towards a jagged opening, easily large enough to admit our entire ship, awound in the dark metal skin. Entering the breach, Kai narrated, his fingers flying across his console. Switching to internal LiDAR and multispectrum imagers.
Interior pressure 0.
Temperature near absolute zero. The drone's view switched. We peered into a cavernous space. Geometric patterns covered the walls, ceiling, and floor, not decoration, but seemingly functional elements, circuitry or conduits of an unknown type. Strange consoles, designed for occupants of unimaginable form, stood silent and dark. Dust motes, ancient and undisturbed for eons, drifted in the drone's spotlight.
Moving deeper, Kaiserit.
Following the main conduit. Corridor? It's massive. Architecture is recursive?
Fractal.
The drone's light swept across surfaces that defied easy description. Walls flowed into ceilings, corridors branched at impossible angles. There was a profound sense of emptiness, of abandonment. No bodies, no skeletons, no sign of the beings who built this place. Commander, Doctor, Oracle interjected. Analysis of internal atmospheric residue indicates trace elements consistent with a complex, non-oxygen-based biochemistry. Methane, ammonia derivatives, complex hydrocarbons. Argon appears to have been the primary buffer gas. Life, but not as we know it, I breathed. Drone approaching a central chamber, Kai reported. Energy readings, faint, but localized. Not background radiation. Magellan floated into a space even larger than the entry cavern.
In the center, suspended by forces unknown, pulsed a soft, ethereal light.
It emanated from a complex crystalline structure, easily 10 meters tall, facets catching and refracting the drone's beam in mesmerizing patterns. Faint energy tendrils snaked from the crystal to conduits in the floor and ceiling. That's the source of the energy reading, Eva stated.
Is it operational?
Unknown, Oracle replied.
Energy output is minimal, bare Subsistenzlevel.
It could be a standby mode, a residual charge, or a deliberate low-power state. The technology is beyond our current understanding.
Can the drone interface with it?
I asked, leaning closer to the screen.
Negative, Doctor.
No recognizable ports or interface protocols. Attempting passive scan. Oracle paused.
Data inconclusive.
Complex quantum states detected within the crystal lattice. Information density is astronomical.
What kind of information?
Eva pressed. Unable to determine structure or content. It appears to be a repository, but the encoding method is unlike anything in our databases, theoretical or otherwise. We watched the pulsating crystal, the silent heart of the dead ship.
What secrets did it hold?
The history of its creators. The reason for their disappearance. The drone circled it slowly, its lights revealing intricate carvings on the crystal surface, patterns that seemed to shift and flow, hinting at the data within. There's something else, Kai said suddenly, zooming the drone's camera onto the base of the crystal. Markings. Script. Etched into the metallic base supporting the crystal were lines of elegant, alien symbols. They were complex, flowing, utterly indecipherable.
Oracle, capture high-resolution images.
Begin analysis, Eva ordered. Analysis initiated. Cross-referencing with linguistic databases, mathematical constructs, universal constants. No immediate correlations found. This is a unique symbolic representation. A unique language, encoding unique information, from a long-dead civilization. The scale of it was staggering. We need to get closer, I said, the scientist in me overriding caution. The drone isn't enough. We need direct observation, sample collection.
Eva hesitated.
Sending crew into an unknown, ancient alien vessel was an enormous risk.
Commander, I pressed gently.
This could be everything. The answer to Fermi's paradox. A warning. A legacy.
We came out here seeking knowledge.
It's found us. Eva looked from the screen to me, then to Kai, whose eyes pleaded for the chance. Her gaze lingered on the pulsating crystal. Yellow alert stands, she said finally.
Prep Eva Suiztorne, Tanaka.
Standard away team protocols. Oracle, monitor internal conditions constantly. Any fluctuation, any energy spike, you pull them back immediately. Understood. Understood, Commander, Oracle confirmed. Kai grinned, a supernova of excitement. I felt a tremor of anticipation mixed with profound apprehension. We were about to step into the unknown, into the tomb of a species that had sailed the stars when Earth was still cooling. The airlock cycled, opening onto the silent, cold void. Tethered to the Odyssey, Kai and I propelled ourselves across the gap towards the derelict's gaping wound. Approaching it felt like approaching the maw of some ancient, slumbering beast. The scale was even more imposing up close. The metal skin felt wrong, its texture subtly shifting under our suit lights.
Inside, the silence was absolute, broken only by the sound of our own breathing and the radio chatter with Eva and Oracle back on the Odyssey.
Our helmet lamps cut sharp cones through the darkness, illuminating the bizarre, non-Euclidean architecture. Gravity plating in our boots held us to the floor, but the disorienting angles made it feel like walking on walls and ceilings simultaneously. Temperature holding steady at 3 Kelvin, Kai reported, his voice calm despite the awe-inspiring surroundings.
No atmospheric pressure. Radiation nominal.
We moved cautiously towards the central chamber, following the path Magellan had scouted.
The sheer emptiness was unnerving. No tools left behind, no personal effects, no debris from daily life.
It was as if the inhabitants had simply vanished, leaving their monumental vessel perfectly preserved but utterly lifeless. Reaching the central chamber, we stopped, silenced by the sight before us. The pulsating crystal dominated the space, its soft inner light casting shifting patterns on the alien geometry around us. It felt ancient, powerful, and deeply enigmatic. Oracle, begin environmental sampling, I instructed, moving towards the crystal's base. Full spectrum analysis of the crystal's emissions. Acknowledged, Doctor. Sampling in progress. Emissions remain stable, low-level neutrino and exotic particle flux detected. Consistent with complex quantum processes. I knelt by the base, examining the strange script Kai had spotted. Up close, the symbols were even more intricate, arranged in flowing lines that seemed to tell a story or convey complex equations. I ran a gloved hand over them. The metal was impossibly smooth and cold. Any progress on the language, Oracle? I asked.
Negative, Doctor.
Insufficient data for meaningful cryptanalysis. The syntax appears highly complex, possibly multidimensional. Kai had deployed a portable scanner, running deeper analyses on the crystal itself. Doctor, the internal structure. It's not just a crystal.
It's processing information.
Actively. The quantum states are shifting, cycling. It's like a computer, but operating on principles we can barely theorize about. Actively processing? I frowned. But the ship is dead. What is it computing? Before Kai could answer, a section of the floor near the crystal illuminated. A soft, blue light emanated upwards, coalescing into a three-dimensional image in the center of the chamber. It wasn't a hologram in the conventional sense. It seemed woven from the light itself, sharp and incredibly detailed. It showed a star map, but not our familiar neighborhood.
Countless stars, alien constellations.
Then, lines began to appear, connecting systems, indicating routes, expansion. It depicted the birth and spread of a civilization across thousands of worlds. We saw images of the builders, tall, slender beings with multiple limbs, adapted to a methane-rich atmosphere, their forms elegant and strange. We saw their cities, their technology, their art, all conveyed in silent, luminous detail. They were starfarers, Kai whispered, mesmerized.
A vast empire.
The map continued to evolve. The expansion slowed, then stopped. A new symbol appeared on the periphery of their explored space, a creeping, fractal pattern, depicted in a menacing red light. Wherever the red touched, the blue lights of their civilization winked out. System by system.
Atreat, imom uret.
Something came for them. The projection shifted, showing the nature of the threat. Not ships, not armies. It was insidious.
Self-replicating micromachines, nanites, spreading like a plague.
They consumed energy, converted matter, replicated endlessly. Worlds were reduced to gray dust, stars dimmed as Dyson swarms were converted into more nanites. The projection showed the desperate attempts of the builders to fight back. Energy weapons, biological agents, reality-altering physics, but the red tide was relentless, adapting, consuming. The grey goo scenario, Kai said, his voice tight with horror. But on a cosmic scale. The final images were haunting. The builders retreating, abandoning worlds, consolidating their knowledge, their essence, into repositories like the crystal before us. This ship, perhaps one of many, was an arc of information, a final, desperate message cast into the void. The projection showed the ship launching, leaving behind a galaxy slowly being devoured by the silent, relentless nanite plague.
The Projektion fadet, leaving only the softly pulsing crystal.
Oracle, Eva's voice cut through the stunned silence, sharp with tension. Did you record that?
Affirmative, Commander.
Full recording and preliminary analysis complete. The projection depicted the history of the builders, identified herein as the travelers, and the nature of an existential threat. A von Neumann widespread destructive replicator, designated the consuming swarm.
The Great Filter.
We had found evidence of it. A civilization that reached the stars, only to be extinguished by its own creation or an external nightmare. They didn't overcome it, I said softly. They ran. Or tried to send a warning, Kai added. This ship, it's a message in a bottle. A chilling thought occurred to me. Oracle, the trajectory of this vessel. Project it backwards. Where did it come from? Calculating.
Backwardsprojektion indicates origin from the direction of the Andromeda Galaxy.
Estimated transit time exceeds 2.5 million years, assuming near-light speed capabilities were employed initially.
From another galaxy.
Fleeing a threat that consumed galaxies.
And the swarm.
Eva asked, her voice strained. Is there any indication of its current position or vector?
Negative, Commander.
The final projection only showed the swarm consuming the traveler's home galaxy. There is no data on its potential intergalactic propagation. Silence descended again, heavier than before. We possessed knowledge of unimaginable significance and terrifying implication. Humanity was not alone in its aspirations, nor perhaps, in its potential doom. We have to take this information back, Eva said decisively. All of it. Earth needs to know. Agreed, I said. But Commander, the crystal. Oracle couldn't decipher its core data. The projection was likely a simplified summary, an emergency broadcast triggered by our proximity. The real knowledge, their science, their history, perhaps even a defense against the swarm, is locked within that crystal. We can't move it, Eris. We don't have the capability, Eva countered. Not the whole thing, I argued, my mind racing. But perhaps we can interface directly, initiate a data transfer. Or take a sample. A fragment. Oracle might be able to analyze a physical piece, understand the quantum storage medium. That's too risky. Eva snapped. We don't know what interacting with it directly might do. It could be booby-trapped, unstable. We have the warning, the core message.
Tats enug. Is it? Ichelnget.
Knowing about the fire doesn't tell you how to quench it, Commander. Their knowledge could be the key to humanity's survival if the swarm is still out there, or if we are destined to create our own version of it. Doctor, I detect subtle energy fluctuations within the crystal, Oracle reported calmly. Correlated with our proximity and scanner activity. It appears to be reacting to our presence. Get back to the ship, both of you, Eva ordered immediately. That's an order. Kai looked at me, then reluctantly began backing away. But I stayed put, my gaze locked on the crystal. The light within seemed to pulse faster, brighter.
The Traveler's Final Legacy.
Their warning. Their hope?
Ares, move. Eva commanded.
Just one sample, I said, reaching for the multi-tool on my belt, setting it to geological laser etcher.
A small core sample.
For analysis.
Torne, damit don't.
Ignoring Eva's shouts, I aimed the low-power laser at a non-critical point on the crystal's base. As the beam touched the surface, the light within the crystal flared violently. Alarms blared in our helmets.
Energy spike. Massive quantum flux.
Oracle announced. Commander, recommend immediate retraction of EVA team.
The chamber lights flickered.
The script on the base glowed with intense blue energy. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the deck plating under my boots.
Ares, get out of Terre.
Kai yelled, grabbing my arm. The crystal pulsed again, and a wave of energy washed over us, not destructive, but informational. My mind flooded with images, sounds, sensations, alien thoughts, the vastness of the traveler's history, the chilling efficiency of the swarm, the deep cold terror of extinction. It wasn't a transmission, it felt like a direct imprint, raw data forced into my consciousness. I stumbled back, gasping, my helmet readouts going haywire. Kai pulled me forcefully towards the exit conduit. Commander, we're heading back, he shouted. Behind us, the crystal's light dimmed slightly, returning to its slow, steady pulse, but the chamber felt different now. Alerted. Aware. Back aboard the Odyssey, stripped of our suits and under medical observation, which showed anomalous but transient neural activity in my case, we convened on the bridge.
The weight of our discovery pressed down on us.
We have the recording of the projection, and Dr. Thorne's experience, Eva said, looking at me with a mixture of anger and concern. We send it back. Long-range compressed tachyon burst. It's lossy, high risk, but it's the fastest way to get the warning to Earth. Agreed, I said, my head still throbbing with the echoes of alien thought. But the crystal, Eva. What I felt. There's more. So much more. I hadn't managed to get a physical sample. The energy surge had prevented it. We can't risk going back, Eva stated firmly. We transmit what we have and continue the mission. Proxima Centauri is still our objective.
Continue.
Kai asked, incredulous. After this? Shouldn't we investigate further? Search for signs of the swarm or other arcs? Our mission profile is reconnaissance, not combat or deep space archaeology, Eva retorted. Earth needs this warning. Let them decide the next step. Oracle, prepare the tachyon transmitter. Encode the recording, traveler designation, swarm designation, trajectory analysis, and Dr. Thorne's preliminary neurological readings. Encoding initiated, Commander, Oracle confirmed. Estimated transmission time, 3.7 hours. Probability of successful reception at Seoul, 78.4%. A risky gamble, but necessary. As Oracle worked, a heavy silence filled the bridge. We had touched the ancient past, glimpsed the potential future, and the knowledge was a heavier burden than the light years we had crossed. Hours later, the transmission was sent. A tightly focused beam of faster-than-light particles carrying our terrifying message across the interstellar gulf towards a home we hadn't seen in decades. We watched the confirmation signal fade on the screen. Course laid in for Proxima Centauri B, Oracle announced. Resuming mission timeline. The Odyssey turned its back on the immense, silent derelict, leaving it to continue its endless drift through the void. We carried its echo within us, within the data stream hurtling towards Earth, and within the alien memories imprinted on my own mind. We continued towards Proxima, but the mission had changed. We weren't just looking for a habitable world anymore. Now, we were scanning the darkness for signs of an ancient enemy, wondering if the Great Filter awaited humanity ahead, or if, perhaps, the knowledge we carried was the key to finally breaking the silence of the void. The silence felt different now, no longer empty, but filled with the ghosts of those who came before, and the chilling possibility of what might follow. The journey stretched on, into a universe suddenly far larger, older, and more dangerous than we had ever imagined. 4 years. 4 years since the derelict. 4 years since we sent our fractured, desperate message towards a home we may never see again.
4 years hurtling towards Proxima Centauri, carrying the weight of our galaxy's tombstone in our databanks and in the troubled mind of Dr. Aris Thorne.
The Odyssey continues. A sliver of human will against the crushing indifference of the void. But the void feels different now. Less empty, more menacing. Every sensor sweep, every flicker of stellar radiation, carries a potential echo of the consuming swarm. Kai spends obsessive hours refining search algorithms, filtering background noise for the faintest trace of unnatural replication, the signature of the galaxy eaters. His youthful exuberance has been replaced by a grim, watchful intensity. He rarely speaks of Earth anymore.
Aris.
Eris is the fulcrum upon which our new reality balances precariously. The encounter with the Traveler Crystal left more than just memories. It left fragments, resonant echoes of alien thought embedded within his own consciousness. He insists they are not hallucinations, but data, disorganized, context-stripped, yet potentially vital. He spends cycles in deep meditation or running complex neurological scans on himself, interfacing directly with Oracle, trying to map the alien intrusions. Sometimes, he'll surface with flashes of insight, a grasp of unfamiliar physics, a sudden understanding of the derelict's non-Euclidean geometry, chillingly detailed visions of worlds dissolving into gray nanite dust. Other times, he's withdrawn, plagued by headaches and sensory distortions he describes as data conflicts. My own role has shifted. I am still commander, responsible for the ship, the crew, the mission. But now I am also the guardian of a fragile secret, the arbiter of Thorne's potentially vital, potentially dangerous insights. My pragmatism wars constantly with the terrifying possibilities he represents. I denied his request to return to the derelict, a decision that still creates friction between us. His near-disastrous attempt to sample the crystal remains a stark reminder of the unknowns we face. Discipline is more critical than ever, yet Thorn's condition requires a flexibility I am uncomfortable with. We never received confirmation that our tachyon message arrived. At this distance, even a simple acknowledgement would take over 8 years for a round trip. We operate in a vacuum of knowledge, armed only with a partial warning and the ghost of an alien consciousness residing in my chief scientist.
Commander. Oracle's voice coot trug sequit hum of the bridge.
Long-range sensors updating.
We are entering the Proxima Centauri system's outer Oort cloud.
Status report, Oracle, I ordered, settling into the command chair. Eris and Kai were already at their stations, the proximity to our destination sharpening the atmosphere.
All systems nominal.
Velocity adjustments proceeding according to plan for orbital insertion burn window in T-87 standard days. Preliminary scans of Proxima Centauri BR refining. Refining. Eris leaned forward.
Elaborate Oracle.
Previous long-range telescopic data indicated planetary parameters within acceptable ranges for potential Terra-type classification, Oracle stated. Mass, orbital distance, estimated surface temperature. However, current, higher-resolution scans reveal significant energy signature anomalies inconsistent with natural planetary processes or expected atmospheric composition. Kai brought the sensor data onto the main screen. Proxima Centauri b, still just a pixelated disk against the dim red glow of its star, pulsed with faint, irregular energy patterns. It's not atmospheric interference, Kai reported, analyzing the spectrum. It's structured. Complex modulation across microwave and low-frequency bands. And there's a thermal variance. Hotspots that don't correlate with orbital position or expected geological activity.
Artificial.
I asked, the word tasting like ash. Insufficient data to confirm artificial origin, Commander, Oracle replied. However, the energy patterns exhibit non-random characteristics. Furthermore, atmospheric analysis reveals unexpected trace elements, heavy metals, complex polymers, that should not persist naturally in the upper layers. My gaze flickered towards Eris. He was unnaturally still, eyes closed, one hand pressed to his temple.
Ares.
He opened his eyes. They seemed distant, focused on something unseen. The patterns, he whispered.
The energy modulation. It resonates.
It's like a harmonic of the background processes within the traveler crystal. A chill traced its way down my spine. Explain. It's not the same signal, not the swarm signature, that feels different, he struggled to articulate, gesturing vaguely. This is structural. Deep.
Like planetary engineering systems on low power.
Or defensive measures.
Defensive measures.
Kai looked alarmed. Against what?
Against the swarm.
I voiced the obvious, dreadful question.
Ares shook his head slowly.
Possibly. Or perhaps just maintaining something. The alien data. It's fragmented, like trying to read a shattered database. But the feel of this energy signature. It's familiar from the imprint. Sophisticated. Ancient. Could the travelers have been here? I asked. Their ark ship originated from Andromeda, but perhaps their empire had spanned galaxies, or this was a distant outpost, a refuge. Projection analysis suggests Proxima Centauri was far outside the travelers' known operational sphere, based on the derelict's star map, Oracle reported. However, that map documented their home galaxy. Intergalactic presence cannot be ruled out. Run comparative analysis, Oracle, I ordered. Compare Proxima B's energy signature patterns against all data recovered from the derelict, including the fragmented imprints from Dr. Thorne's neurological scans. Analysis underway. This will require significant processing time, Commander, especially correlating imprecise biological memory data. As Oracle worked, we watched the screens, the enigmatic energy pulses from Proxima B seeming to grow more pronounced as we drew closer. Was this planet a haven, as humanity had hoped for decades? Or was it another piece of the galactic puzzle, a place touched by the travelers, the swarm, or powers unknown? Days turned into weeks.
The Odyssey shed velocity, preparing for the crucial orbital insertion burn. Scans grey Sherpa.
Proxima be resolved into a world shrouded in thick, orange-tinted clouds. The hotspots Kai had detected were confirmed, localized areas of intense heat radiating from beneath the cloud cover, defying meteorological explanation. The energy signals persisted, complex and stubbornly undecipherable by conventional means. Eris grew more agitated, spending longer periods interfaced with Oracle, pushing the boundaries of his mental endurance trying to find correlations in the fragmented traveler data. He experienced more frequent headaches, flashes of disorienting alien script overlaying his vision. I ordered him to take mandatory rest periods, concerned for his stability, but knowing his insights might be our only key.
Then came the breakthrough.
Commander, Oracle's voice was calm, but the informational weight behind it was immense. Correlation found. Confidence level, 87.9%. The energy modulation patterns emanating from Proxima Centauri exhibit significant structural similarities to deep-layer energy conduits observed within the traveler derelict. The ship's power system? Kai asked. Not precisely, Eris interjected, his eyes alight with feverish discovery. He gestured towards the main screen where Oracle displayed complex waveform comparisons. It's not power generation, it's containment. Regulation. Like the systems holding the central crystal stable, but scaled immensely.
Planetweit.
Containing what? I asked. Unknown, Oracle stated. But the atmospheric trace elements, Eris continued, pacing now. The heavy metals, the polymers. They are consistent with residual decay products of certain traveler nanotechnologies documented in the crystal's warning projection. Not the consuming swarm itself, but perhaps ancillary technology? Or remnants of a defense. A planet wrapped in traveler energy systems, its atmosphere seeded with remnants of their nanotechnology.
Not a pristine, habitable world waiting for humanity.
Something else entirely. We need to get below the clouds, Eris urged. Send a probe. Atmospheric pressure and composition at lower altitudes are still unknown, I countered. Those thermal hotspots could be lethal environments. The probe that entered the derelict, Magellan, its shielding could potentially withstand significant pressure and temperature variances, Kai offered, checking specifications. We could modify its sensor package. Commander, Eris's voice was low, intense. The data imprint. There's a recurring symbol associated with these energy patterns.
A warning GLYPH.
It translates roughly, crudely, as
Quarantine.
Or perhaps preserved. Quarantine. Preserve. Two words with vastly different implications. Was Proxima Centauri a site the travelers had sealed off due to swarm contamination? Or was it something they were trying to protect, using their advanced technology to shield it? The Odyssey sailed on, closer to the enigmatic planet. The decision loomed. Orbital insertion was days away. Do we send a probe into that potentially hostile, artificially contained environment? Do we risk revealing ourselves to whatever, or whoever, might still be active down there? Our mission was to find a new home, or at least a viable candidate. But Proxima B was looking less like an invitation and more like another echo from the terrifyingly vast, ancient, and dangerous universe we were only beginning to comprehend. The silence of space was broken, replaced by the humming uncertainty of a world under technological quarantine. The debate raged on the bridge for 2 full cycles. Orbital insertion was imminent, the ruddy light of Proxima Centauri filling the main viewer, its enigmatic companion world looming larger with every passing hour. Proxima B, not the welcoming blue marble of decades of hopeful projections, but an ochre-shrouded sphere humming with unnatural energy, whispering warnings in a language only I could partially grasp. Sending the Magellan probe is an unacceptable risk, Eva argued, her voice tight with the strain of command. She stood rigidly, arms crossed, facing the main viewer but seeing, I knew, the faces of her crew, her responsibility. We don't know what that energy field is, what the atmosphere contains, or what triggered those thermal spikes. Our mission is reconnaissance of potentially habitable worlds. This is something else.
It screams danger. And ignorance is safety, Commander.
I countered, stepping closer to the command chair, feeling the familiar thrum of the traveler data echo in my temples. The headache was a constant companion now, a side effect of trying to parse galaxy-spanning knowledge through a human mind. The energy signature resonates with traveler containment tech. The atmospheric composition hints at their nanite residue. The glyph clearly indicates quarantine or preserve. We are staring at a deliberately engineered planetary system, possibly touched by the very swarm we warned Earth about. To turn away now, without understanding why it's contained, what is being preserved, that's not caution, it's dereliction of a greater duty. A duty not explicitly in our mission parameters, Eris, she shot back, her eyes locking with mine. The ghost of my impulsive actions back at the derelict hung between us. My primary responsibility is to this ship and this crew. Commander, Doctor, Kai interjected, turning from his console. His face was pale, drawn. I've isolated a sub-frequency within the main energy emissions. It's patterned, highly complex, repeating on an irregular cycle. It doesn't feel like broad-spectrum interference, it feels targeted. Like a carrier wave for a message we can't decode, or maybe, he hesitated, a keep-out signal, as Dr. Thorne suggested. A very sophisticated, automated warning. Further analysis, Oracle? Eva asked. The sub-frequency structure is consistent with complex data transmission protocols, but lacks discernible content without a decryption key, Oracle reported. Probability of it being a warning system is estimated at 68%. Atmospheric analysis indicates high concentrations of corrosive sulfur compounds and metallic particulates below the upper cloud deck. Pressure gradients are extreme. Entry would subject the probe to pressures exceeding 90 Earth atmospheres near the surface, with potential for unpredictable electromagnetic discharges related to the containment field. Magellan's hull can withstand the pressure, and we can enhance the electromagnetic shielding, Kai stated, already running simulations. The primary risk is data corruption from the energy field during transmission, and the corrosive atmosphere potentially compromising external sensors over time. But it's feasible. Feasible doesn't mean wise, Eva countered. Commander, I said, lowering my voice, trying to convey the certainty I felt amidst the chaotic data fragments in my head.
The Preserve-Interpretation. It feels stronger now.
The energy field isn't just a wall, it's nurturing. Maintaining equilibrium.
Like a shell around so meeting precious.
If the travelers went to such lengths, expended such energy, we must know what it is. What if it's knowledge? A weapon? The cure for the swarm they couldn't deploy in time. Eva remained silent for a long moment, her gaze fixed on the swirling ochre clouds of Proxima B. The weight of command, the burden of choice, settled heavily on her shoulders. Finally, she sighed, a barely audible sound.
Modify the Magellan.
Maximum shielding, enhanced sensor package focused on energy field analysis and material composition.
Real-time telemetry link, encrypted Tichtbeam.
But Kai, she turned to him, her voice regaining its steel, the instant that probe deviates from projected parameters, the instant communication degrades below safety thresholds, or if Oracle detects any active hostile response, you pull it out.
No hesitation.
Understood. Understood, Commander, Kai replied, relief mixing with tension in his expression. Oracle, Eva continued, monitor all energy fluctuations on the planet. Correlate probe telemetry with planetary responses. Establish threat assessment protocols based on traveler technology patterns derived from the derelict data and Dr. Thorne's analyses. Protocols established. Threat assessment parameters active, the AI confirmed. The next 12 hours were a whirlwind of focused activity. Kai and the engineering systems meticulously upgraded the Magellan drone, reinforcing its shell, adding specialized filters to its optical sensors, calibrating instruments designed to analyze exotic energy fields and complex organic molecules. I worked alongside Oracle, feeding it the fragmented impressions from the traveler imprint, attempting to build predictive models of what the probe might encounter, refining the AI's threat assessment algorithms based on the vague, unsettling feelings associated with the quarantine glyph. Finally, Magellan, now studded with enhanced sensors and humming with internal power, detached from the Odyssey. It hung for a moment against the backdrop of the vast ship and the dim red sun before firing its thrusters, a tiny silver dart plunging towards the swirling, forbidden clouds of Proxima Centauri b. We watched its descent on the main viewer, the bridge silent except for Kai's status updates and Oracle's calm narration of the telemetry data. Entering upper atmosphere, Kai reported. Altitude 500 kilometers. Experiencing minor turbulence. Outer hull temperature rising within expected limits. The view from Magellan's forward camera showed the cloud tops rushing up thick, viscous-looking, tinged orange and sulfur yellow. The probe shuddered as it hit the denser layers. Altitude 300 kilometers.
Entering mein cloud deck.
Visibility 0. Atmospheric pressure increasing rapidly. High concentrations of sulfuric acid detected, Kai read out. Compensating for wind shear. Energy field interference increasing, Oracle stated. Data link integrity at 92%. Minor packet loss detected.
Implementing error correction.
The probe bucked violently. On screen, static briefly washed over the external view before clearing. Heavy electromagnetic discharge nearby. Kai exclaimed. Shielding held, but that was close. Source appears localized, possibly related to the containment field itself. The field is active, not just passive, I murmured, recognizing the discharge pattern from a fleeting traveler memory of planetary shield maintenance. Altitude 100 kilometers. Pressure at 45 Earth atmospheres. Hull temperature stabilizing. Still within the cloud layer. Kai's fingers flew across his console.
Weit, breaking trug.
The screen cleared abruptly. Magellan had emerged beneath the seemingly impenetrable cloud deck into a startlingly different world. The light was dim, filtered through the thick upper atmosphere, casting everything in a perpetual dusky orange twilight. Below, stretching out as far as the probe's sensors could reach, was not barren rock or chaotic storms, but structure. Vast, geometric patterns were etched into the landscape itself. Immense conduits, kilometers wide, pulsed with faint internal light, crisscrossing valleys and plains like glowing rivers. Crystalline formations, reminiscent of the derelict's architecture but integrated seamlessly with the planet's surface, rose hundreds of meters into the toxic air. The thermal hotspots we detected from orbit resolved into colossal energy regulation hubs, intricate lattices of alien metal glowing with contained power, managing the invisible energy field that pressed down on the entire world. The air, according to sensors, was thick with ammonia, methane, and complex chemical compounds utterly hostile to Terran life, yet the entire landscape hummed with a palpable sense of controlled, managed stillness.
No Sins of Destruktion, no Swarm Residue hier, only order.
An engineered world.
Incredible, Kai briest.
The preserve glyph, I pointed to the screen where Magellan's enhanced optical zoom focused on one of the massive regulator hubs. Etched onto its surface, large enough to be seen from kilometers away, was the same symbol I had deciphered, glowing faintly. It's everywhere. Oracle, analyze structural composition, Eva ordered, her voice hushed with awe. Materials consistent with traveler alloys found on the derelict, Oracle confirmed. Evidence of large-scale geoengineering and integrated energy systems. No biological lifeforms detected externally. Environment appears stable but sterile at the surface level. Where is the energy field focused? I asked.
Terre must be a central point, a core purpose.
Multiple energy convergences detected, Oracle replied, overlaying potential targets on the map relayed by Magellan. The strongest emanations originate from a large, shielded valley complex approximately 800 kilometers from Magellan's current position. Take us there, Kai, Eva commanded. Maintain altitude, cautious approach. Magellan flew over the breathtaking, alien landscape. It felt like traversing the inside of a colossal machine, built on a planetary scale. The silence was profound, broken only by the low hum of the energy conduits below. There was no wind, no weather beneath the clouds, the environment perfectly controlled. As the probe approached the valley complex, the energy readings intensified. The valley was encircled by towering crystalline pylons, pulsing in synchrony with the planetary energy field. Within the valley, nestled amongst glowing conduits, lay the discovery that stole our breath. Not technology, not weapons, not data archives. It was life. Protected beneath localized energy domes, thriving in artificially maintained atmospheric bubbles, were contained ecosystems of staggering diversity. Magellan's cameras zoomed in, revealing flora utterly alien, bioluminescent fungi forests, crystalline trees, plants that moved with slow, deliberate grace. Tentative scans detected complex life forms within these domes. Creatures swimming in methane lakes, arthropodal beings tending glowing gardens, feathered reptiles soaring through nitrogen-rich air. Dome after dome, each a jewel box containing a unique biosphere, a snapshot of life from worlds unknown. It's an ark, Kai whispered.
A planetary seed bank.
They weren't quarantining the planet from something, I realized, the traveler fragments clicking into place with horrifying clarity. They were preserving this. The last genetic legacy of their devoured galaxy, maybe more. Shielded from the swarm by this entire planetary system. The sheer scale of the undertaking was unimaginable. A civilization facing extinction, dedicating unimaginable resources to saving not themselves, perhaps, but the concept of life itself, sheltering it behind an impenetrable technological fortress disguised as a barren world. Magnificent, Eva murmured, shedding her commander's reserve for a moment. Absolutely magnificent. But the moment of awe was shattered.
Commander.
Kai shouted, suddenly tense.
Energy signatures changing.
The pylons encircling the valley, they're powering up.
Hostile intent, Oracle.
Eva snapped. Unknown. Energy patterns shifting to a defensive configuration.
Multiple small, fast-moving objects detested rising from within the valley complex. Metallis composition, high energy readings.
Closing on Magellan's position. On screen, points of light detached from the structures below, resolving into sleek, teardrop-shaped drones, smaller than Magellan but radiating focused energy. They moved with silent, coordinated precision, forming a loose cordon around our probe. They're not firing, Kai reported, his hands flying over the controls. But they're boxing us in. Emitting focused EM pulses, trying to disable Magellan.
Data link integrity dropping. Oracle warned.
81%. 75%. Interference escalating rapidly. Can we evade them? Eva asked. Negative. They're too fast, too numerous. They seem analytical. Like an immune system identifying an intruder, Kai replied, attempting evasive maneuvers, but the traveler drones mirrored every move effortlessly. The preserve function extends to active defense, I realized. They protected this place for millions of years. They won't let an unknown variable compromise it. One of the traveler drones darted closer, bathing Magellan in an intense scanning beam. Alarms shrieked on the bridge.
Hull integrity compromised.
Energy surge overloading primary systems. Kai yelled.
Losing telemetry.
Pull it out, Kai. Now. Eva ordered. Trying. Thrusters unresponsive.
Systems failing.
The main viewer dissolved into static, then went black. Magellan telemetry lost, Oracle stated calmly. Silence descended on the bridge, thick and suffocating. We stared at the blank screen, the dim orange glow of Proxima be visible through the forward viewport, now seeming infinitely more menacing. Our probe was gone, swallowed by the automated defenses of an ancient planetary ark. We were alone again, orbiting a world of wonders and dangers beyond our comprehension, having confirmed the traveler's presence here, discovered their incredible legacy, and provoked its silent, implacable guardians. The question was no longer just what was being preserved, but whether we had just triggered an immune response millions of years in the making, and what it would do next. The silence on the bridge stretched, taut and brittle, thick with the static ghosts of Magellan's final, choked transmission. Kai stared at the blank main viewer, his hands frozen over the console, knuckles white. Eris stood ramrod straight, eyes closed, but his rapid breathing betrayed the turmoil within. Even Oracle's usual ambient processing hum seemed subdued, the ship itself holding its breath. Report, I finally managed, my voice sounding rough, distant. Kai flinched, then his training kicked in. He cleared his throat, fingers resuming their dance across the controls. Last confirmed data packet received at 14:07 ship time. Contained fragmented telemetry indicating multiple system failures consistent with focused electromagnetic pulse damage. Final visual frames showed proximity of unidentified drone objects. No hostile weapon discharge detected prior to signal loss. His voice wavered slightly on the last sentence. He'd become attached to the little probe. We all had, in our own ways. Oracle, I turned to the ever-present AI.
Analyse the final data fragments.
Drone capabilities. Current status of planetary defense systems. Analyzing, Oracle replied. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as the AI diverted processing power. Graphs and simulations flickered across secondary screens. Final sensor readings from Magellan indicate the defense drones possess advanced capabilities. Estimated speed, Mach 7 within atmosphere. Energy signatures consistent with localized EM pulse weaponry and tractor/repulsor fields. Hull composition appears to be adaptive camouflage integrated with traveler alloys. Their behavior pattern prior to telemetry loss was consistent with containment and analysis protocols, rather than immediate destruction. So they captured it? Kai asked, a flicker of hope in his eyes. Capture or disabling is the higher probability outcome based on observed actions, Oracle confirmed. Current status, planetary energy field remains stable but operating at elevated levels, particularly around the valley complex containing the biodomes. The defense drones have returned to dormant positions within the valley. No objects have attempted to leave the atmosphere. Threat assessment indicates immediate danger to ISV Odyssey in current orbit is low, but potential for escalation exists if further intrusion is detected.
Low immediate danger. Cold comfort.
We had poked the sleeping dragon, and now it had opened one eye. Eris finally spoke, his voice strained. The imprint. It's clearer now. The reaction wasn't aggression, it was inoculation. The drones are antibodies. They detected an unknown element, Magellan, assessed it, neutralized its ability to interfere, and likely transported it to an analysis or disposal site within the valley. The system is designed to preserve the integrity of the garden above all else. Isolation. Sterilization of external contaminants.
Contaminants like US.
I asked grimly. Precisely, Eris nodded. We are an unknown variable in an equation meticulously balanced for millions of years. As long as we remain passive in orbit, the system may tolerate our presence as an external anomaly. But any attempt to re-enter the atmosphere, any active scanning perceived as hostile, would trigger a full defensive response, I finished. One potentially tailored for interstellar threats, not just atmospheric probes. The implications were chilling. We were orbiting a planetary fortress, armed with technology potentially millions of years beyond our own, designed by a species capable of intergalactic travel and fighting cosmic horrors like the Swarm. Options, I stated, falling back on procedure to anchor myself. Retreat is the obvious first choice. We have confirmed traveler presence, discovered the planetary arc, identified its defensive nature. We transmit this new data to Earth, add it to the previous warning, and proceed to a safer distance, possibly rerouting to a secondary exploration target further out, if fuel reserves permit. We can't just leave.
Ares protested, stepping forward again. Eva, think what's down there. The genetic legacy of countless vaults.
The technology maintaining it. Understanding how they defended this place could be crucial to fighting the Swarm, or understanding the filter. Leaving now is abandoning potentially the most important discovery in human history. And staying could mean ending human history, starting with the three of us. I retorted, anger flaring. Did you not see what happened to Magellan? Those drones neutralized it effortlessly. What do you think they could do to the Odyssey? We are explorers, Eris, not soldiers challenging a fortress. There might be another way, he insisted, lowering his voice, gesturing towards the star map. The travelers. They weren't monolithic. The data suggests factions, philosophical divides, especially towards the end. Some focused on escape, like those who built the derelict. Others on preservation, like here. Perhaps there's a protocol, a recognition signal. If we could transmit something based on the derelict's core signature, or the preserve glyph itself. Transmit an unknown signal based on fragmented alien memories directly at a planetary defense system that just destroyed our probe? I asked incredulously. How is that not painting a target on our hull? It's a calculated risk, he argued. If the system recognizes the core traveler signature, it might classify us differently. Not as a contaminant, but, perhaps as kin? Or at least, not an immediate threat to be purged. Oracle, I asked, needing objective input. Probability of Dr. Thorne's hypothesis being correct? What are the risks of broadcasting a signal derived from derelict data? Insufficient data to calculate probability of positive reception, Oracle stated. The traveler imprint within Dr. Thorne provides context, but lacks specific protocols for this planetary system. Risks of transmission include 1. No response, revealing our technological limitations.
2. Misinterpretation of the Signal ist hostile, triggering immediate defensive Eskalation.
3. Unintended interaction with the containment field, causing unpredictable energy feedback or system interference aboard Odyssey. 4. Potential success, classifying Odyssey as non-threatening, status unknown. The odds weren't comforting. Commander, Kai spoke up, pointing to his sensor display. There's something else. Subtle, but definitely there. The planetary energy field, its resonance frequency is shifting. Slowly modulating across a broader spectrum. And I think it's expanding.
Expanding.
I demanded. Explain. The effective boundary where the field significantly interacts with ambient space radiation is moving outwards. Not by much, maybe a few dozen kilometers over the last hour, but it's a clear trend. If it continues, its periphery could begin to interact with our position in geosynchronous orbit within 10 to 12 hours. Effects of interaction, Oracle. Potential consequences include navigational interference, sensor distortion, communications disruption, and possible induced currents within Odyssey's hull and systems if field intensity reaches critical levels. Long-term exposure effects unknown. The planet wasn't just watching anymore. It was reacting to our presence, extending its influence, gently but inexorably pushing us away or preparing to analyze us more closely. The low immediate danger assessment was evaporating.
Wie wäre running out of time to be passive observers?
Retreat. Observe from further out. Attempt communication. 3 options, each laden with risk. Leaving felt like cowardice, a betrayal of the very purpose of our journey into the unknown. Staying passively was becoming impossible. Communication was a shot in the dark, potentially suicidal. Eris watched me, his eyes burning with the weight of the alien knowledge he carried, pleading for a chance, for understanding. Kai watched his console, tracking the expanding energy field, his expression a mixture of fear and fascination.
Oracle weitet, processing gigabytes of data, ready to execute any command.
My decision crystallized. A compromise perhaps, but one that acknowledged both the danger and the potential. Oracle, I began, my voice steady, locking onto the image of the shrouded planet, plot a course adjustment. Increase our orbital distance by 50,000 kilometers. Maintain sensor focus on the planet, particularly the energy field and any drone activity. Simultaneously, prepare a transmission sequence. Eris leaned forward, hope warring with apprehension.
Transmission content.
Oracle asked. Isolate the core mathematical constants and fundamental physics ratios embedded within the traveler derelict data, things unlikely to be misinterpreted as hostile. Add the preserve glyph structure, encoded as a simple geometric pattern. Sequence them into a low-intensity, narrow-beam signal directed towards the primary energy regulation hub in the Valley complex. Use prime numbers as interval markers. Make it obvious as non-natural, but fundamentally passive and analytical. A greeting card based on universal constants, Eris murmured, a hint of approval in his tone. Non-threatening. Offering identification linked to other traveler tech without broadcasting aggression. Exactly, I confirmed. We will retreat slowly, maintaining observation. We will offer a simple, recognizable signal of intelligence, linked to their own kind, but without demands or hostile posture. We show awareness, we show respect for their boundary by moving away, but we don't run completely blind. Course plotted. Signal sequence compiled. Oracle reported instantly. Initiating orbital burn in 5 minutes. Transmission can commence upon reaching stable higher orbit, estimated T+45 minutes.
Execute, I orderet.
The low thrum of the Odyssey's engines filled the bridge as we began to pull away from Proxima Centauri b. We were moving back into the relative safety of deeper space, but we weren't turning our backs completely. We were extending a tentative feeler, a message in a bottle tossed not into the void, but towards the ancient, silent guardians below. Whether they would perceive it as a greeting, an intrusion, or simply irrelevant noise remained to be seen. The expanding energy field pulsed softly on Kai's display, a constant reminder that our presence had consequences, and that the silence of the garden world might soon be broken again.